But how long did it take for you to see the first convert on that tribe? He said 11 years. It's easy to reach tribe, easy to work.
Wow.
It took 11 years. Asked him, so in this 11 years, how many people you had to send? Close to 60 people that we had to send. How many people had to lay down their life in 11 years? 4 people buried there.
Hi guys, welcome back to Raw Mission. I'm Matt, your host, and today we're going to pick up where we left off last time with Ben's stories of life in India. We'll be hearing about how Ben was hauled up in front of the local government authorities to answer for another worker's actions, and how a good friend of his also started becoming interested in the gospel after spending a few months in jail.
And then there was another time, there was one of the Christian leaders did something insensitive to the Muslim community and became a big issue, citywide issue, and there was a lot of things happening. Things were out in the newspaper. A big problem was happening. So the district magistrate, the chief administrative office of the district, appointed 5 pastors and 5 Muslim leaders as representatives to solve this problem.
Wow.
And they were solving this problem. And while they were inquiring, while this team went and inquiring about these things, one of the guys, he told them, we are also very good missionaries like Mr. Benjamin. Why are you after us?
So they're saying, look, come on, don't put pressure on us. You know, Mr. Benjamin, we're like him. You know, we're in the same category.
We are also a good guy like him. So news came to me that they're calling me they're going to call me the next day.
Yeah.
So next day I was prepared and I was invited to their house. Interestingly, they called me to my landlord's house. My landlord owns a big business. So when I walked in, this 5 men were sitting. Out of the 5, I know 4 people.
Wow.
They were already good friends of mine. And one guy, I didn't know him very much. So that's the guy who was giving me a serious look. He was staring at me the whole time.
Yeah.
Every time when you go visit people, there is a lot of hugs and, like chai, like hospitality going on. And this time everyone were a little serious. So to break the ice, I said, today I'm going to sponsor this special breakfast dish. Like I'm going to buy it for every day. You buy it for me. Today I'm going to buy it for you. So my landlord was, no, this is my house. I'm going to buy it. So I insisted that it will be my sponsorship. Some important people are sitting here. I'm going to do it. At least for one day in life, allow me to do it. So they said, okay. As this was going on, the guy who did not know me, he's the one who straight away looked at me and asked me, are you a missionary? I didn't know how to respond to that because he seemed too serious. And all the others were, like watching me, how I would respond. I prayed for a moment. There were few events that I remember that my heart was connected directly to God. God gave me some wisdom here. Yeah. And this is one of them. So I turned around and I looked at the other person and who is of my age and speaks very good English, very nice man. And I asked him, you know me for so many years, from the time I've been here. What do you think about me?
Yeah.
So he looked at me, not him, there's another elderly guy. He responded to the question. Oh, we know you, Benjamin, for a long time, and we know you're a missionary, but you are not like that man. I asked him, which man? I said, don't you know what's happening? I said, what do you mean? What is happening? Tell me. They said, oh, you should know. It is all in the newspaper and everything, and a lot of things happening. I said, no, I don't read Hindi newspaper because I cannot read Hindi. Okay. I watch only English news, so I haven't seen anything about this thing. So tell me what is happening. Yes. Then they told me the whole story. So I asked them, what do you want me to do? So they said, no, we just want to make sure it's peacefully solved.
Mm.
We don't demand anything else except if this man says sorry, we will close the whole thing.
Wow.
He said, why you should say sorry? What's the reason behind it?
Yeah.
So they said, can you call somebody suvar ka bacha, means son of a pig.
Oh, wow. He called someone son of a pig.
Pig. And
Yeah.
that was the issue, underlining issue. Because when one problem starts, everything adds up.
Yes, exactly.
Christians and others see the other problems, but here the people are actually seeing the
Yes.
underlined issue.
The
So
real
I said,
problem was he was rude to somebody.
yeah.
Yeah. Not that he was a missionary particularly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I told them, they asked me, is it right to call somebody, not only to a Muslim, to anyone, you shouldn't be calling that, saying
Exactly.
that's very wrong.
Yes.
I agree with you. So what do you want me to do?
Mm.
You know that person, go tell them, say sorry. If he says sorry, you're done.
Case closed. Wow.
So I went, took my motorcycle, drove to that city and talked to him. And he said, you might be afraid of Muslims. I'm not. That's what he
Oh,
gave me
no.
the response. So came back and told them, no, I don't think I can handle this. Then they said, oh, we will handle it on our own. I knew what they were meaning by that.
Yeah, violence probably, or arrest.
So I went back again, and then 2 days time, I mean, things got solved and all those things. So what I'm trying to say is, because of that, God has protected us from being harmed, and also He used us to save others also. You know, some big problems happening.
Yeah. So somehow did the guy say sorry eventually?
Eventually, I don't know the full story.
Yeah,
but I
at least
stepped
you
back
came to a
and-
conclusion.
They could have taken a very extreme step.
Wow. Okay, so that's one of the things in your time in the North that you saw, being a peacemaker, influencing people, sharing. Did people ask you about your faith a lot? I mean, did you have lots of opportunities to share faith, or were there just a handful of disciples? Or
Okay, in the first few years, it was we who tried to talk about faith.
okay,
And some people might say yes, some people might say, like might not show interest and all things. But what happened, because they saw us as typical Christian workers, and for me to learn language and learn the culture, I would always go with a local evangelist, and he would go into his company was buying handicrafts products from the Muslims. Sells them. Because of that, they placed an evangelist there. His job is to go evangelize the workers from where they buy the products from.
okay.
So he would go sit and talk with these people very faithfully about Christ, say a lot of good things. Everyone will say yes, yes, yes. And I was like, this was happening day after day. And after a while, it sounded like this is a routine. It's not going anywhere. So I really want to understand what is happening among the people's mind, after this guy's talk. So I chose a group of young men, this 8 young men who are working together every day. So on that day, I went along with this evangelist. He spoke in pure Kanpuri Hindi, Brahmin background Hindi, and he talked to them for nearly an hour or so. He talked about Christ, a lot of things. They all said yes, yes. And then he prayed, and then he left. So I stayed back with those guys, hung out with them, had more chai, and slowly started asking these people, like, what do you think about that guy?
Yeah.
They all said, oh, he's a very nice man.
Yeah.
So I asked him, well, how do you say he's a nice man? Oh, he always talks about God. Oh, interesting. Do you like to talk about God? Yeah, we all believe in God. So he prays for us. Like they were appreciating him for a while.
Yes.
I kept thinking, what else you think about him? What else? And even finally, it came to a point that one guy finally opened up. He said, look, his company is paying for him to come and talk to us every day.
Yeah.
But if we don't work from morning 8 o'clock till evening 8 o'clock, we will not have food on our table. If somebody is willing to pay for us, we will also talk like him, even better than him. So
Ah,
that made me to think a little, how people see us, perceive us is
yeah.
very
So they
important.
just
What they
think
say,
he's getting money, so he says that, and we don't care. He's doing business with us. We'll let him talk.
yeah, talk, thing. So, and then I started looking at a lot of mission efforts are being done. Every time it is people who are benefiting directly out of us are the ones who say that they became believers.
Hmm.
Not somebody from this outside of this circle.
Hmm.
So then I chose, if people don't see us rubbing our shoulders with them on a day-to-day life, they're not going to trust us. That
Right.
they're not going to believe in what we say.
Hmm.
So we started some small businesses. I sold my wife's jewelry, bought some handicrafts, and started selling it out. I tried all these small businesses, but the more smaller the business is, the more evident that you are a missionary, because your lifestyle and the business size don't match.
Yes. Yeah.
People will know that within few days. Uh, but there happened a time that God gave us really a big business. We were doing two big things. One is a chicken farm, which is a good size for me to run. And
Hmm.
then we were running a metal factory where we would make some engineering products out of that. When they saw me as a struggling man, also like them, working
Hmm.
towards business, big business, when they saw all those things started changing for us. So
Hmm.
that's when I would sit and have chai with the fellow factory owners. Uh, the factory owners and the
Yeah.
other shop guys, the other who are nothing to do with my work,
Yeah.
but they just became friends out of that. So
Okay.
that circle started growing. And then when we sit and talk about some of our struggles, they ask me sometimes, one of the guy asked me, how do you manage it? I said, yeah, as long as you have faith in God, you pray to God, God will keep showing you ways, like, then he asked me, would you pray for me also?
Hmm.
Started praying, and then he invited me to pray for his mother, and then the news spread, other guys invited us for praying. So this was growing at a peer level. These are
Yeah.
also factory owners,
Yeah.
business people. And then I realized these are also common people who have heart issues just like we have,
Yeah.
family life struggles that we have, and we
Hmm.
just need to be able to be available for them. So
Yes,
it
you're
took
talking about natural connections with people at a similar level to you, or lifestyle, or
yeah,
and how that opens doors for faith and praying for people and conversations. That's more natural than just a traveling evangelist going around on a motorbike, talking to random people and driving off again.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I say the first few years we were trying to evangelize, even though people said yes, it was not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But after that, things have changed. The relationships were meaningful. Whatever we did was honest.
Hmm.
It is not something is forced on anyone because of they get benefits or anything. It's just totally a peer relationship.
Yeah. Can you give us a picture of, I don't know, 30 years ago, perhaps, were there many Muslims turning to Jesus in India, and what the situation is today?
In the past, I would say Muslims were not turning to Christ because of two reasons. One is 30 years ago, most Indian communities were very traditional. Every community lived in their own system. No one wants to leave their community system. So Muslims also lived that way. And then also we did not have this kind of awareness in those days to reach out to them.
Yes.
So less was sown and less was reaped. Now the scenario is changing. The globalization is playing an important role. So this is creating an openness. So I think the door is right now wide open for us with the right right approaches to right people, yes, a lot of more people are now turning to Christ.
Hmm.
I would say wherever the efforts are made, people are turning to Christ. That's what I'd say.
Right. Wow. Praise God. I mean, that's the key thing, isn't it? If laborers are willing to go and like you
Laborers
talk
are
about,
willing to
live
go.
with communities, not just fly
Yeah,
by or run an
yeah,
open meeting, but actually go and live and learn the language and culture, whether you're coming from South India or from Korea or Britain or South America. If you spend the time, the effort, and pray and embed yourself in the community with Muslims, people are
yeah.
starting to turn to Christ because the gospel is powerful.
Yeah, that's true. Also, who can do it? Only Indians can do it, or Westerners. I don't have a restriction on that because according to gospel, Jesus told, "Go into all nations." There is no restrictions.
Amen.
Gospel flows first of the. I think the first time when a gospel grows, it goes through a cross-cultural effort. People, because there is somebody from outside, he has something to tell us, he has something to show us, draws
Right.
the attention.
Yes.
Draws the attention.
Especially for unreached peoples and unreached communities, and there are millions of them in India. There has to be someone coming from outside. Yeah. So
Outside.
so you're saying whether it's from a different state in India or a different country, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's still an outsider coming with the gospel
Outside.
for the first time.
The gospel comes. So once when the gospel comes in, how it's going to grow, that's what is very important. That's when we as an outsider should learn to stay out of it.
Yes. Right.
We
Learn
need
when
learn
to come in and learn when to step
learn
out.
when to stay. That is the key.
Yes.
To deal with it, I think.
And that's probably one of the mistakes the old British missionaries
yeah.
made. They stayed in too long. They didn't just set the flame alight and then withdraw and let the church grow. They stayed too long. They controlled too much. They used the Western paradigms and church models too much. But I think now people are much more aware that no, you can start a church planting movement without controlling and organizing everything.
Yeah, I think, yes. And when we step out, the whole gospel will take more of the local flavor than be influenced by an outside flavor.
Yes. Yes.
And it'll be a lot more local. Like that is,
yes.
There is one story that I have even now happening with one of my close friends. I pray that this continues to grow as a movement.
Yeah.
He's an advocate, advocate.
A legal advocate?
Yeah, legal advocate. We've been friends with him for 7 years. And every time, because we would interact with him for a lot of things, because we did a lot of community events through this guy. And this guy is a great guy. And but every time when we sat together and we eat, if we pray, he will laugh at us.
Oh.
He likes everything about us, but when we pray, he will laugh at us.
Huh.
The only thing that he will stay away from us is Jesus. Everything else is fine. But we are there for Jesus, so that's a conflicting thing. But one of the things that I always teach us is when we develop relationships, it should be unconditional. If we have a conditional relationship, then it's not going to work. If you associate one with someone only if he wants to become a believer, then
it's not honest. It's not full of integrity. No, that's a really good point.
Community will know that. Yeah, community will know that easily.
Yeah, I mean, in Urdu they say matlab prast. Yeah, you're always coming with an agenda. And that's not loving. That's not kind. We should love people as people and share the gospel, but we don't base everything on with our friends on whether they respond or not. So
after 7 years, something happened in his life. After 7 years of being friends, something went on in the court premises, and 2 guys were shot dead.
Sharing this podcast is a really good way to encourage more people to get involved with God's great mission, whether locally or globally. So please do help us get the word out there. If you use an iPhone, it's pretty easy to write us a review, and that has a big impact on how many people can find us. Alternatively, you could share one of your favourite episodes with your church family or home group or CU, either in person or on WhatsApp or social media. Thanks, guys. And now let's get back to the podcast.
Something went on in the court premises, and two guys were shot dead, and a big thing happened. So the police arrested nearly about 200 and more than 200 advocates and lawyers and put them in jail.
Wow.
One of them was my friend also.
Yes.
He was also in jail. So 2 weeks passed. He didn't come out. He has two small kids, same as my son's age.
Yeah.
So I went to visit the boys. The boys were crying. So I offered if I can take the boys to the jail, visit their father, because I know the jailer. By now I know the who's and who of the town, so I can pull strings. I offered to take the boys to the jail, visit their father. The mother said, no, I don't want my sons to go to jail. Their father will also not like them. Will you please go and visit him? Okay. I came home and told my wife that I'm going to visit. She said, I also want to come. Great. So since Jane also wanted to come, I didn't want to go through a regular process of jail visiting, because it's a very humiliating process. You don't want to be visiting in jail as an ordinary man. You don't want to do that.
Why? Is that because of what you might see when you get there, or how they treat you even as a visitor?
How they treat you even as a visitor, and it is not good for your status, all those quite a few things involved in
searches and things.
So since my wife wanted to come, so I called the jailer and I said, hey, can we come to jail? Some of our friends are there, would like to visit them. She said, oh yeah, come, I'll take you in. So I went to the jailer's house. So he drove us in his car. He took us in. He was with us the whole time. He showed us, he gave a good tour of the jail. And then we went and met with this advocate. So he came with a big smile and he talked. He bragged us about how nice inside the jail is.
Your friend, yeah.
How they are taken care of, because they are nearly about 250 people. All those things. So he just, and he's a mimicry artist. He always mimics about someone, and he always cracks jokes, and he always makes fun of everything. So while I was leaving, I took a New Testament, Urdu New Testament with me. So I gave it to him while I was about to leave. I gave the New Testament to him. You have all the time in the jail, you don't get to do anything. Right. If you find time, if you feel it interested, read this book. Try. Yeah. So he took the book, he left.
Yeah.
2 weeks gone, same story. Went back to the visit those guys. The little boys, they wanted to see their father. So I promised to visit the father again. This time I went by myself without the jailer. I went through the regular process of visiting the jail. So
like a normal visitor.
Yeah, they put a stamp on your hand as a visitor. If you don't have the stamp, you will not be allowed outside.
Oh, you'll be stuck in the jail. Yeah.
Yeah, I was stuck in the jail. So if you take the stamp and then they search you, do all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I went in. This time I took some fruits with me and went and visited him. The advocate came with a big smiling face, and he started bragging about what he was here, how well he's exercising, how nice the food is, all those things. He kept bragging, and then started shaking my hands. As he shook my hands, he saw the stamp on my hand. He was shocked. He said, why did you come through the main gate? I said, yes. Why did you come? If you called the jailer, you would have come through the other gate and you would have driven in why do you do that?
Yeah.
I said, I came to visit you, not the jailer. If I come with the jailer always stands right next to us.
Yeah.
I came to visit you. He totally became quiet.
Yeah.
He didn't say a single word after that. He just kept staring at my face. And then I didn't know what to do. It's like 10 minutes went quietly, and then I gave him the fruits and I said, did you read that book? He says, oh, that's a very nice book. So what I'm going to do is when I come out of jail, I will donate that book to the jail. When I come out, you should give me another book.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make out of it because he makes fun of everything.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, yeah,
Mm.
I'll give you one. So I walked out. I went out. Again, 2 weeks passed, same story. Ended up visiting him again in the jail with the same stamp on my hand. He
Mm.
held my hand. He saw the stamp. He didn't let my hand go.
Mm.
He just held on for the whole time. And he said, only when you are in a problem, you know who your real friends are.
Yeah.
And a day or two later, he called me. I knew that he is released from the jail because he's calling me on his phone.
Okay.
So what happening? He said, yeah, we are in the court within an hour. All the procedures will be finished. We all will be released. So you should come to our house for dinner.
Mm.
Right. I said, no, only today you are getting released. It's been more than 2 months. You should go stay with your family, spend 3 days, then we will come for the dinner. He said, no, you're
Yeah.
coming today. So we went back and forth on that. I hung the phone.
You hung up on him.
2 minutes later, he was at my doorstep. He was right at my door. He said, today you are coming to my house for dinner.
Wow.
Okay. Finally, we agreed. We went to the house at the evening dinner, and in his house now that we don't pray in his house because he laughs at us.
Yeah.
So all the meal were served, and it was a big feast. All the meals were there, and I went to serve the food without praying. He asked me to stop. Wait a minute. I said, why? What happened? Is there anything else coming? He says, no. First pray. And then he laughed, and he gave me a big smile. I said, no, you're joking.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm really saying, it's really, please pray first. And he was still laughing and smoking. I didn't want to believe him. I just said, no, don't make fun of me. Like, says, no, really, pray. And then my wife said, you should pray, like. So I made a quick prayer. We finished our meal. And as we were about to leave, did you bring that book? I said, which book? No, the one that you gave me in the jail. He said, oh, you're serious.
Yeah.
I didn't think that you're going to be serious. So you're serious. I said, I gave that book to the jail library. Now you need to give me one.
Wow.
So, okay, next time I'll bring it. So a week later, he didn't show up because normally on a regular weekday, 2 or 3 days in a week, they will show up in our house for tea, evening tea, because his office is right. Our house was right behind his office premises.
Okay.
So in 5 minutes, he can be in our house. And he loves the South Indian snacks my wife makes. So he'll come for that. Whole week passed, he didn't come. So I called him and said, what, have you become too busy or what? You didn't come to our house. He says, but we're busy, but today you come to our house for dinner. I said, we just had the dinner last week. He said, no, you come again. Last week we had meat. This week we will have fish. Your favorite is fish. I know that. Okay, then we agreed. Went to his house. He asked us to pray first. We had a formal prayer, he wanted me to say some scriptures. So I opened my phone and read Psalms and had a full-fledged prayer, and we had a meal. And when we were about to leave, he asked me for the book. I didn't, but next day he came and took. And then we moved out of that city. We lived in Hyderabad for 10 years. So in one of my visits to that city again, he bought a new house. He moved into this new house. So he told me, now that you are not living in our city, if you visit our city, you should stay in our house. I have a room for you. Specifically, I made sure that you have a room in our house. Wow, that reminded me of something, the prophet's story.
Yes, like Elijah.
Elijah. So I just wanted to make sure it is real. So I visited
Yeah.
without telling him, letting him know we are coming. So went there, he had this nice room ready. And in the room, there were 3 books on the top of his shelf that were given to him by me on 3 different occasions.
Wow.
And I didn't ask him if he's going to read it, if he's reading it. I just wanted to see if he's reading it. So I opened the book. The book where all pages were turned around.
Wow.
They were well used.
Interesting.
Just
You never know, do you? And wow, what a amazing story. And yeah, go on.
A few months ago,
yeah,
I was visiting along with one of my friend who is a very good evangelist, great evangelist, speaks great Urdu, grew up in a Muslim community. We both were visiting him, and my friend started sharing things with him, and he brought 2 of his friends to come to his house and listen to us.
Wow.
And when the other Muslim friends started interrupting and telling what they want to share, this guy silenced them, saying, listen to them first.
Interesting.
What they say.
That's so great. So he's become a door opener. He's become a person of peace for you in that city. But after years of relationship and caring for him as when he was in trouble. Yeah. Wow. That's really powerful. I love that. It's just, God loves individual people and he wants us to be patient and to pray and spend time. And you have to, don't you, in South Asia? You need to spend time drinking chai, having relationships, eating food. Yeah.
This actually reminds me in another conversation with one of the well-known mission leaders in India. Now he is no more. He became old, retired, old. Now he is with the Lord. He's a very well-known. He led the largest indigenous mission, the largest Asian mission agency in India for a long time. He raised that from here to here.
Yeah.
And I know him well, and we had a lot of interactions. And after his retirement from that mission agency, he was into prayer movement. So we were in a particular city organized by some local lay leaders specifically to pray for Muslims. So as we were preparing for that, this man turned around me and asked me, Benjamin, why is that? While all the other communities is easy to work with, all the other communities, Muslims are so difficult. They don't accept Jesus very easily like others. I didn't know how to respond to him, but something came to my mind. God gave me some insights, because from my young age, I was part of their work also by supporting them and my father promoting. So I know the whole history of that thing. So one of their proudest or their crown of their work is a particular mission field in Bihar. This particular in Bihar, the tribe called the Malto tribe.
Okay.
Now they have a huge movement happening in that place. A lot of churches, a lot of things are happening. So that came to my mind. I immediately started asking him, look, you have a big movement happening among the Malto tribal community. So, but how long did it take for you to see the first convert on that tribe? He said 11 years. It's an easy to reach tribe, easy to work.
Wow.
It took 11 years. Asked him, so in this 11 years, how many people you had to send? Nearly about close to 60 people that we had to send.
Wow.
How many people had to lay down their life in 11 years? 4 people buried there.
Wow, 4 people buried. So four out of these 60 workers lost their lives or died in that work. And then eventually one person came to the Lord, and now there's a huge movement. One
person. And then I asked him, how many years did it take for you to see from one believer to a visible small church activity? He said it took another 10 years.
Another 10 years.
So and then from that visible church activity to a movement, how long did it take? He said another 10 years.
Wow.
So it took 3 decades. So in these 3 decades, how many workers you sent? He said nearly about 600 workers.
Wow.
So I asked him, look, you had to lay down 4 people, send 600 workers, send so much, like translation, Jesus movie, audio, this, that, whatnot. You have done everything. You
Yeah.
guys lay down. His own son is also buried in the same place.
Wow.
I told him, if an easy to reach Malta tribe can take that much of a price, I think we are not ready to pay that price in the Muslim community.
Hmm.
We are not willing to pay that price. If the day that we are willing to pay that price, we will have a big harvest.
Wow.
So he was challenged by that, and he says, so okay, Benjamin, you can have my name as the first martyr in that place. I said, doesn't work that way, but but we need people with that attitude,
yes,
kind of
willing to
that
lay
attitude.
down their lives. Yeah, the problem is not with the harvest or the harvest fields. The problem is the laborers aren't going. And that's exactly what you're saying. If you spend the time and the money and send the people and the prayer, give it the prayer it needs, then of course, Jesus said that the fields are ripe unto harvest. It's not the problem with the harvest. It's not that Muslims are too hard to reach.
Yes. So it is what I learned all these years.
Yes. And I've heard there are many church leaders or maybe new Christians, new believers in Jesus in Bihar who are facing a lot of persecution as well. Is that something you've heard too?
Yeah. Things are changing in India slowly because a lot of people are turning to Christ. A lot of villages, the things are working. So yes, there is India is slowly changing.
A bit more persecution, but that's what happens when the church grows. Then that's what causes the response. Yeah, and we have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Wow, Ralph, thank you so much for sharing that amazing story with us and all your wisdom. And this has been a really good conversation. I could keep talking to you for many hours, but I think we should, finish it there. Maybe, perhaps just finish with, I don't know, if somebody's thinking in another country, is there a need in India? Should I go? Should I give my life to serving the church and reaching Muslims in India? What would you say? Any tips, final thoughts for someone thinking like that?
I think India has huge need. The need in India is so huge, and you cannot restrict to who, what, and how. The need is far and wide. I think if God calls you to go, I think, are you willing to pay the price for it too?
Yeah.
Price that it takes to be in India. So that is my first challenge. Second one is 20 years ago, India was very different. You can come and do a charity work and get accepted and be nice and do all those things.
Yeah.
Now India is changing. India is one of the business leaders of the world. Like even in the history, when the Islam came through war, it was the enmity still stayed, and where Islam came through trade, the peace is still running in South India. And the Christians are peacemakers. We are peacemakers, and one of the ways we can business people have the better opportunities to bring in peace indirectly. So there are different ways to come and serve in India than the traditional ways. So ask yourself, are you called to do that? Are you equipped to do that? Or do you have faith in God to achieve that?
That's really powerful. Yes, there's a lot of social enterprise and business models now in serving Jesus overseas. And trainings that we offer, we help people think about that before they go. What's the best way? And yes, I hear what you're saying. There's a huge need for starting businesses or working in companies in India. Lots of different ways to work there. It probably won't be the old traditional ways of medical and NGO work. Well, it's such a privilege to be with you today. Thank you for giving me your time. Much love to your family. And I really hope we see each other again at a conference in the near future at some point.
Yes. Yeah. Glad to see you soon.
All right. God bless. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. For more, check us out on our website, frontiers.org.uk, and on all social media platforms @FrontiersUK. Have a great week and make sure you don't miss our next episode.